Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, our bluebird feathers changed hands in a very unusual way when Dukirvan decided to live out the rest of his life far off in the savanna grass with Melody, who had been kind of chased away by our tribe when she sprouted fires all around our nursery. So now Ananame has taken on the bluebird feathers herself, and it's quite clear that her ancestors approve, because we have a new little baby, Taduk, who has been perfectly blessed by the Balance Sisters. I feel like that's a pretty good representation of their family and how far they've all come. So this little guy is destined to be our bluebird feather heir. And from here on out, with what little time Ananame has left, she will focus on making sure that this little prince will grow up to be a very good leader, much better than his ancestors. She might even call his big brother Kirkir over to help her out with the task. She'll need somebody to help him out after all once she passes, and she knows that Kirkir is much more loving to his family than Dukirvan ever was. We'll want to bring Dragonfly over here too, to hopefully get to know his new little baby, while other members of the tribe are not so willing to interact with their little ones. Jasmine is just a little bit overwhelmed because her new baby reminds her so much of the Herald of Flames who brought the fires down upon them. With that smoky white fur and those fiery red eyes, she's not sure if she can find it in herself to raise this baby like she should. But Wildfire is not alone, because she still has the love of her father and of her big brother too. So as he picks his berries to bring back to his family, we'll have their other more adventurous brother keep carving his way through the grass. I bet he could probably find us some pretty good berry bushes to pick from, since we do need to increase our food supplies right now. In fact, that is exactly what Valentine is doing way off in the tall grass too, picking up berries left and right for his entire family. Even though he was also blessed by the Balance Sisters, I'm starting to wonder if he might not return. He was kind of like the innocent bystander to everything going on between Dukirvan and his tribe, so maybe he would be more curious about Melody and her little flames that she has hidden off in the savanna. Maybe he would want to try to seek that family out instead. Our lion pride and our shamans are also going to be seeking food today as well. But first we have a little baby to name. So we decided that we were going to name all of the shaman babies after different types of gemstones, mostly based on their eyes. So I asked you guys for ideas for this little baby, and a lot of you seem to like the name Zircon, so that's what we'll name him. I love how striking those blue eyes are against the dark red fur. He is a very, very pretty little guy. He doesn't have the digging paw though, so we can't really help his mother with that job, but we should at least be able to bring her over to her mate's side so they can have another baby in the future. She's not going to settle down just yet, because she feels herself being pulled back to her old home. There are so many creatures over here that are going to be passing away within the next few days that she wouldn't be able to help but feel their call. I think we'll have Quartz follow after her too, along with her mate of course, who would want to go say goodbye to his mother. But since they don't have any energy right now, they're going to have to wait for the next day. And then the new little baby Zircon, maybe she would ask if he could stay behind for a little while with Bee and Petal and Honeycomb too. She knows that they would take very good care of him, and since he's a little bit too young to follow right now, he needs somebody to stay by his side. It must be difficult for a mother with such a big role in the tribe, because as much as she wants to stay behind with her babies, she knows that's not possible right now. So Honeycomb will have you make your way deeper into the grass too, try to scout ahead for some more berries to pick with your nimble fingers, and we'll bring Bee over to this side, so she's a little bit further away from the wandering male. I'm not sure where he ran off to, but he always seems to be hanging around Hornet in this home. I'm starting to think that they might actually want to raise a little family together. Maybe that's why they're always poking around this nest. We'll need to find somebody to help them out with that, of course, and it's not going to be a Vanta or Ash. I feel like these two would be the most likely to just take up the old role of the bandits, preserve their ways, and hello! Oh, wait a second. I don't think this is our rogue male, is it? I don't remember if he had such a dark mane. That is very, very curious. Okay, so maybe we have more family members out here than we realized. Let's see. Yeah, this one I think is our original rogue male. And then our second one is scooting around the territory too. So that's good to know. It looked like they both have the lean body, and that's what we want to try to breed into our tribe. But for now, everybody, aside from some of our smallest babies, are all tired out. So let's go ahead and skip the day, and make sure that no wildfires are going to pop up in Melody's trail. They're a bit hard to spot until they really start to rage. But since it does seem like it's getting a little bit hotter in the savannas, we want to make sure that we're not stumbling straight into danger. So far so good though. So Melody, it might be time to pick up some of the last of your berries, and then instruct your children to make their way deeper into the grass. We actually want them to go toward this ring of flames, where they're hopefully going to make their home. All of that destruction must be calling them in that direction. But now Taduke has grown his very first gem, and his mother must be so proud to see such a regal little prince sprouting up in her nest. So she'll teach him one of the most important lessons of all, especially in the savannah, and that would be how to pick the berries. It's probably quite a bit for a child to understand, but he needs to know how important their food supply is right now. They don't have many resources to work off of, so that's an issue he's going to have to try to fix once he's the leader. She would probably tell him the story of her brother too, and how he used his 2 claws to tear away at all the berry bushes on their old home, which made her so very sad at the time, because it was one of the very few ways that she could actually contribute, by picking all of those toxic berries. So she wants to make sure that he will never do something so brash, something to hurt one of his family members especially. But now Moonstone can make her way back to her old friend's side, because Ananame should be passing away on the next turn. So we would definitely want her to be right by her side, so she'll be able to pass away in peace. Though in all honesty, with so many of her family members right around her, I don't think she has too much to worry about. And then hopefully she'll be able to help out little Wildfire as well. This family also needs a bit of her guidance. I wonder if that's where Quartz could come in? If we could have Dakuta help lead Quartz down toward the rest of the tribe? Maybe we could have him and Wildfire meet. The shamans only know the albino babies as the beacons, which is a sign of good fortune, of course. So that would be a good way to help put this family's mind at rest. But it seems as if our original rogue male has maybe caught the attention of both Petal and Honeycomb. He's probably scouting for more food to bring back to Hornet, in fact. So I wonder if maybe Petal might find some interest in their woes, and she'd be interested in helping them out as soon as she grows. For now, we'd best have Hornet continue to pick his berries, and hopefully clear out the grass around their home too, so nothing dangerous can spawn there. It's so interesting how the savannah kind of drains the color out of our creatures. Zircon is missing his beautiful blue eyes with all the savannah heat beating down on him. Thankfully it doesn't look like he's lost too much energy, so let's bring Bee a bit closer to the shore. That way she's further away from the rogue male too. I don't want them having any potentially sick babies. But she can watch after Zircon, clear out some of the grass. And wait a second. It looks like she may have truly caught the rogue male's attention instead. Though I guess they wouldn't have sick babies anyway. Or at least we wouldn't have to worry about them catching any colds, because their immunity genes are different. So maybe it would be Hornet's own sister Bee who would want to help them make a family of their own. She already has Honeycomb and Petal to look after, and now the new little baby Zircon too. So she wouldn't actually be too interested in having more babies to raise on her own, especially without her mate involved. We'll just plop the big nose into her mutation menu, because I think that would be cute if the baby was still born with the big nose that her family is known for. And then I guess just something like the running leg, just to see if they can weasel that in over one of the no paws. And then we'll see how it goes. We'll see if Bee maybe accepts the idea. Is his other little rogue family member still wandering around here too? Yeah, looks like he's probably hanging around our bandits, so he must be quite interested in their lifestyle. He has to be this roguemeal's brother or something. They just look far too similar for them to not be related. So as we finish off the last of our turns, have Dusty go a bit deeper into the savanna grasses, and then maybe have a Wildfire move a bit closer toward Quartz, because I'm sure that would really interest her to see somebody out there who looks so much like she does. We'll have Sunspot take her place right next to her mother to make sure that she's doing okay too. He must be very, very worried about her because he's never seen her act in such a way before. But strangely enough, it seems like our rogue male has not actually bred with Bee. In fact, he's kind of disappeared. Well, he must be very nervous about the whole situation. Maybe we will have to take action ourselves. But let's go ahead and skip the day, as Ananame is unfortunately going to be leaving us behind, but not without passing the bluebird feathers over to sweet little Taduk. So he only has 2 gems right now, which means both of them are going to be blue for the moment, because he has nowhere else to tuck that last bluebird feather. But at least he can do his mother proud and hold on to them both. And then we should be able to have a Moonstone dig out that grave, very close to her remains as well. It must be so sad for her. Ananame was one of her oldest friends, and really helped her gain her footing on this island. But I feel it would only be right to have Moonstone use this family's nest now, just like she did when she laid all of our lion's remains to rest. So we'll have her settle down in the royal nest this time, and we'll see what baby becomes of that. It would probably be a pretty good way for her to connect her little shaman babies to each of these families. Hopefully she'll be able to summon the powers of Moon Eye and Crescent, and maybe we'll even see one of our old ancestors reborn. Wait a second, it looks like we actually have a fire sprouting down here. Oh, Bee, maybe that's why your rogue male friend was a little bit frightened. Well, let's bring her over here. Do we actually have to chase you down? Usually the rogue males are not so shy. There we go. Now we can actually bring her back to Hornet and hopefully start their family, if this fire isn't going to get in the way. Well, Zircon, who needs to take on those shaman gems, wouldn't stray very far from Bee's side. So let's bring him over here too, to pick up a little bit of this grass, so hopefully we can move a bit more freely in case the fire really starts to kick up. We're going to have to cross our fingers for another rainfall, and let's see if there's any more fires in the grass as well, just in case. We don't need anything else popping up by all of our babies. Oh my gosh, right by our ring of ashes? Oh, right by all of these flower ports too, and right in the direction that Melody was planning on heading. So that's not going to stop her. I feel like the fires would really only be drawing her closer, or maybe she even summoned them herself. I find it terribly fitting too that our Herald of Flames actually has the water body on her. That is super fitting for this island because it's not as if she'll get to touch the water herself, since we can't use this giant abyss of an ocean. So it's almost like she's doing this to spite the water that she'll never get the chance to feel. It must feel awfully unnatural for a water-bodied creature to live in a land so hot and stifling. It might even be a little bit dangerous. You would think they would need to wet their fur every now and again if they want to stay alive, but Melody has found a different way to cope. Dusty, of course, would also be drawn in this direction, if just to investigate the ashes that he knows will be there. Maybe he wants to try to discover if the fires are destroying any of their resources. Maybe he's trying to poke around the ashes for that. But in the process, he is instead meeting little Valentine, so hopefully they'll be able to help each other out. Valentine can pick the berries with his nimble fingers, and Dusty should be able to keep them safe, since he does have some Berryina genetics. And speaking of which, Moonstone is going to have to try to calm the minds of Jasmine and Sunspot. She can show them her son, Quartz, and she can tell them the stories of the beacons from the swamplands, the creatures who were once powerful deities of adventure, and who were only good signs to our previous families. But I don't think they would be too pleased to see you sneaking up on our creatures, little guy. You aren't going to be able to breed with Jasmine, especially because she's just about to pass away. So we might have to have some of our males draw a bit closer to chase him off. Luckily, because he's so skittish, we don't have to worry too much. It seems like he's more interested in pawing around by the shore. I hope he'll follow Bee back to the nest though, because I do want him to at least get to know his little baby that he's wanted for such a long time now. It sure doesn't seem like he's giving it a rest this time. Maybe this would actually be Wildfire's chance to prove to her mother that she is here to protect their family, not to cause any fires like Melody. So I guess we'll have her take a good swipe at this guy, just to chase him off. But of course, because of her poison fangs, he's going to find it quite difficult to stumble his way back home. So it's kind of heartbreaking that this guy is just so far away from his nest, because I'm not sure that he'll ever be able to find Hornet again. But all is not in vain, because at least he still has a child that Bee will be carrying to the nest soon. We'll have him go ahead and scoop up the berries while he waits, and just keep a very close eye on the rogue male as he wanders around our territory. In fact, we might even bring little Jasmine next to the nest, so she can pass away by all of the other remains. And Quartz can settle down by Wildfire's side, so he can join her as one half of the beacons, and share all of those stories that I'm sure he knows very well too. And Aname would be just as proud to see her little son picking the berries for his tribe, making sure that everybody has the food they'll need to eat, especially as the new babies are just about to be born. And then we'll have Kira make his way around the territory to keep an eye on our rogue male friend, of course. But now, as 2 more of our tribe mates pass away, we'll be ready to greet a brand new shaman into our nest. Oh, look at this one. He actually has the digging pot too. Oh, finally, we have somebody who can continue your life's work, Moonstone. Before we go ahead and name him though, I just want to make sure that the fires are not spreading too far. It actually looked like the land got a little bit cooler, but unfortunately that's not enough to douse the fires. We're going to need some actual rain before they stop spreading, I guess. That makes sense though, we're just going to have to be careful. We want to make sure that these don't get too close to our new babies. So I think this one had the black eyes, so we'll name this little baby Onyx after a darker mineral. And he as well has that special home island immunity gene, which we do need to make sure we're keeping in our tribe. If we do manage to see the birth of a female with the home island gene too, I would love to work the Shaman's curse back into their line. Unfortunately though, nobody is going to be able to help Moonstone bury all of these remains, so she's going to have to find some little places to bury them herself. Oh my gosh, how fitting is this? There's actually a root right next to Jasmine's berry bush. That would be the perfect place to set her to rest. Let's bring Moonstone over here, and then we'll have to bring Dukuta next to her to breed with her, just in case, as we dig up those roots for a special place to bury Jasmine. Then on the next turn, we'll have to try to find another good place to put Sunspot, though I'm not seeing any roots around here yet. We might have to travel a bit farther to find a good place for him, but I guess that's because Sunspot was such an explorer. Maybe Heatwave would actually like to take up the job of picking the berries from his mother's bush. We'll bring him over here to swap places with the Dragonfly, who is also just about to pass away. Oh, it's a very good thing that Moonstone came here in time. So she'll be able to make sure that each and every one of these souls can cross over to their next lives. Yeah, I guess Onyx is going to have quite a bit of work ahead of him too. I mean, Moonstone is so close to passing herself. He's actually going to have to lay his own mother's remains to rest before he even grows his final gem. But he'll have the support of this royal family watching over him, just like how Zircon has Bee to keep him safe. And speaking of which, we're going to want to start bringing her around these wildfires. So maybe Zircon could light the way so she can get around a little bit faster. We could even have Petal join them too, though I do want to make sure that she's not going to attract the attention of that other wandering male, just in case they would end up with sick babies. So let's have Honeycomb actually do the honors first. There you are, little guy. So let's just check. It would seem that their immunity genes are different, so if they do end up breeding, it definitely wouldn't be the end of the world. And it would be a good way for them to potentially start a little lean body line too. That was part of the reason why we wanted one of our creatures to breed with the rogue males, because we need those lean bodies to take advantage of all of our energy again. Poor little Hornet is still waiting so patiently. Let's have him move over here, so we know that Bee will be able to use that nest. And then maybe Vanta and Ash could lend a hand for a little while. They're not going to stay here for very much longer, but they do want to make sure that all of these future babies will be safe too. They come from a very tight-knit family despite their bandit ways. And I think Vanta is probably starting to trust Ash more. He's grown up completely and he never started a wildfire, so he must be safe to travel with. In fact, all of the wildfires, very fittingly, are over on this side of the island instead, where Melody herself has been. The same pathway that Melody took before. That's why she'll be so surprised to find out that she's not alone out here. Not like she thought. She has creatures on her tail who are actually quite interested to meet her and her little flames. They don't carry the same fear in their hearts like the rest of the tribe. She's so used to being feared for her terrible powers that I don't think she'd really know what to do in this situation. The only other creature who accepted her was Dukirvan, and that was because he kind of felt the same way, like he was on the outskirts of his tribe. But now that our new beacons are finally beginning to settle into their homes, I think things are looking up for this part of the family. We have Taduk, who is just about to grow. In a couple of days, he'll get his last gem, and then we can officially call him the alpha of the tribe. But we're going to be saying goodbye to his father first, as he passes away on this turn, and as Moonstone tries so desperately to find enough places to bury all of these skeletons. She has quite a bit of work on her hands, but I think for this night, she's going to need to settle down in the nest instead, and that means that she will truly, officially be passing the role over to Onyx, which is no small task for a creature so young. And in the next episode, if all goes well, we should also be seeing the birth of Hornet's new family, in a very roundabout way. Bee has finally made her way over to the nest, so hopefully that means that she'll be able to give birth to our first lean-bodied baby. We still have such a long way to go before we can truly unlock it in our mutation menu. 30 more days in the savanna, though only 10 more before we unlock the big ears, so it's a start. We just have to make sure that our hopes and dreams aren't burned up in the fires looming by their nurseries. Maybe it'll actually take a nice big offering to Vankir before the fires go away. We need another good rainstorm to wash over the savanna and take Melody's wrath along with it. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!